Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Okay, let me see who was first. Monroe Taylor Classic Movie Channel. Thank you so much. Connie Bowmer. Hey, Black Queen. Ingrid Soares, Elaine Parker, Mary H. Dansby One, V. Bram, Maria Jacobs. Hello. Thank you all for being here. Um, BZ23, that has a ring to it. How about Sussex Rising? I like that. Sussex Rising, very cool. Uh, okay, I'm scrolling down and I want to know who's here for the show. Say, I want to know. I'm scrolling down. Hey, Jael. And I want to know who is here for the show. I'm scrolling down, dun 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 dun. Andrew Bodie, hello. Lady Sandy Love, D. N. Hanson, thank you for being here. Okay, Elaine Parker wants to say hi to a few people. There you go. Thank you so much. All right. Almost on time today, huh? Well, I said to myself, whatever it is, I'll just leave it for tomorrow. I got to learn to do that. Sometimes, I don't know, I just kind of push myself for whatever reason. But I just like to be thorough, that's all. Um, okay. As I say that, guess what I'm still doing? Scrolling through the Twitter. Okay, so let me close this down and stop looking at it. Um, Whatever it is, I'll get to it another time. All right, so be gone, Twitter. All right, got work to do. Okay, so Christian Synagogue Inc., thank you for being here. Expat Lifestyle, very cool. All right, so where are we here? Let me go to the next one here. Well, talk about feeling as low as a well digger's behind. Um, the what do you call it? The mirror image of someone else who well, they didn't step down, they got pushed out. But I mean, it's amazing when you look at someone's shadow, or sometimes when you look at their mirror image, imagine what's looking back at them. Well, take a look there. I mean, on the one hand, you see Bojo, and on the other hand, you see someone else who couldn't stop lying, someone else whose policies may have very well made an already terrible global pandemic that much worse. That's the part that really gets me, is that I think um, people downplay that. Maybe it's for their own mental health and well-being, although I I just don't know how they can't see that, and even worse, why some people just don't care. Do you guys realize that when Bojo, Boris Johnson, had to go to the emergency, well, here we would say emergency room, when he went to the emergency because of his, oh, you guys would say surgery, right? When he went to the surgery for his symptoms of the pandemic, I still avoid that word, even though they're not as critical about us using it. And the reason why I can't say the other word is because there was so much misinformation and tomfoolery and malarkey, as Joe Biden says. There was so much of that if you said it, then all of a sudden the YouTube would flag your channel. So I just say pandemic in exchange for that. But when he went to the hospital, he very nearly died. I think they were considering giving him a tracheotomy um, opening up a hole in his throat so that he could breathe. And likewise, when it came to Donald John Trump, oh God, oh God, I hate him. I do. Yeah, I know people say you shouldn't hate. I hate him. I just hate him. He's such a terrible person. When they took him to the hospital, and I'm not even going to tell you what I was thinking when that helicopter took off, he very nearly died. If it wasn't for the fact that he was the president of the United States, there would have been no help for him. He would have just been another statistic. And he actively criticized people, created an atmosphere for people in the White House to take their mask off. And then those same people would go home to their families. That was what was so insane about it. So the misinformation, the lies for the sake of lies, the cruelty for the sake of cruelty, as they say, cruelty seems to be the point. I hope that the world is soon rid of people like that. I pray that the world is rid of people like that. They always say there's enough room in this world for everybody. Not in my world. So good riddance to him. And as for the other one, well, maybe he can go and visit him, right? Arrogant to the end, Johnson rails against kangaroo court as he quits as MP after being found to have misled Parliament. One of the things that is a felony offense in the United States, if you knowingly lie to the FBI, they made that a felony offense. It just cuts through a lot of nonsense. Now, that's kind of hard to prove sometimes, knowingly lie to the FBI. But that's how they get you. When the FBI asks you certain questions, you can take the fifth and not incriminate yourself. But if you're forced to answer those questions, or if you have lied about it, well, that's where the felony comes in. It's a very powerful tool. And a lot of times they need only lay out phone records, surveillance camera images, and etc. to prove that you're lying. So that's how they get a lot of people for perjury, is because they let them hang themselves. So yeah, that benign arrogance that Bojo has all the way up to the end, that seems to be the class of people that are in power right now. Save for the culture that they leave behind. The culture, it's like they have indoctrinated, they have brainwashed lots of people around them. They have these like Manchurian candidates in the government waiting to be activated to try to bring down Western democracy as we know it. This man and Donald Trump, both of them are threats to Western democracy, the democracy that we hold so sacred. The biggest threat is from people like that, people who and look at the other thing about him that is very identical to Trump: the stupid hair. The stupid hair. There's no reason why his hair looks like that, except for the fact it's part of his brand. And he understands that it makes him easily recognizable in a crowd. It makes him stand out amongst everyone that his hair is absolutely ridiculous, which, by the way, is getting thinner by the day. But even before he does an interview, the first thing he does is mushes his hair so that he makes sure that you look at him as the clown, while he pretty much, I guess, used that as a ploy to get his lies out there in the public. There's so many people that still believe in him. That is very shocking. So this is kind of like the way it is right now. You're looking at some people right there who don't seem to know what the truth is. Um, their version of truth doesn't really jive with reality. And even Holly, who gets by with the big blonde hair and the big pretty smile, that is her stock in trade. But beneath that is someone who seems to have been an enabler for God knows what. I'm not even going to get into that. But those are the people that command the airways. Those are the very people, not a bone of sincerity in any of them. But cheers to whoever put this together. As you know, Phil and Holly were accused of jumping the queue at the Queen's lying in state, the state funeral or whatever, the lying in state. They were accused of jumping the queue. So I've had this for a while and I just never shared it, but today seemed like the day to do it. So bon appetit. Bon appetit. Enjoy. Snack on this for a minute. Hello, Lorna Williams. My voice sounds funny today. I don't know what's going on. Maybe, that the fires in Canada, it seems to have affected a lot of people. Now, I routinely run an air purifier, and pretty much I have my AC on year round, set at a very low, at a kind of a high temperature, but it kicks on and off throughout the day. So perhaps I'll change the air filter today. But yeah, I have it running most days. So I'm pretty much accustomed to some good old indoor mechanically reimagined fresh air. That is my favorite thing. Okay, so and there you go. Somehow he still hasn't seemed to gotten the grasp of how to do certain things, but hopefully during his hiatus or whatever his plans are next, whatever he's going to do, I hope that he uses that time to learn a few things that some people have mastered decades ago. And good riddance. Prince Archie's birthday gift revealed. See Prince Harry and Princess Meghan's sweet thank you letter. Well, I shared this yesterday, and I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. Actually, it was very, very early this morning. So I am just going to, it's just a few minutes long, going to share that for the people who may not have had a chance to see it. But yeah, I was a posting fool last night. I just kept posting one video after the next. I was working on some new software and trying to figure out how to do some things. So I went into a posting frenzy, which is why I'm starting so late today. So without further ado, here's that video. How sweet.
Prince Archie got royal treatment on his 4th birthday, a bike, hand-delivered by the local shop owner himself. As the world woke up on May 6th, prepared to watch the coronation of King Charles, the owners of Mad Dog's and Englishman Bike Shop in Montecito, California, were thinking about another member of the royal family, Prince Archie. Shop owner Jennifer Blevins told people that her British partner and shop co-owner Martin spontaneously wanted to give Archie, the son of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, a special birthday gift. He went and he got one of our little specialized kids' bikes. They're really nice little bikes. And he's like, "This one's perfect. It's got training wheels," Blevins told people. And so he went and got some birthday balloons, and he got some flowers for Megan and a birthday card, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to bike over and take it to their house." Once he arrived, Blevins said security emerged from behind the gate of the home, asking Martin if he had received an invitation from the royals. He said, "I'm just a British business in town that wanted to give Archie a gift." Blevins laughed. Palace will update. Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet's titles on royal family website. After running an on-site background check on Martin, security allowed him to leave the gift. Flowers, card, balloons, and bike, Blevins said. Flash forward a month later, said she got a surprise delivery to the shop on Wednesday. A courier came by our little shop on Coast Village Road, and he dropped off that letter, she shared with People, referring to a thank you note sent from Meghan and Harry. "I was making a joke," I said. "It better be a thank you letter." "And it really was," Blevins said. "I wasn't expecting that. I had no idea. It was so thoughtful because, they took the time to write something personal, and not just a generic thank you," she added. The letter from Harrison Colcord from the office of Prince Harry and Meghan was posted to the bike shop's Instagram. It read, "On behalf of Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, please accept their sincere thanks for the thoughtful gift you sent to Prince Archie for his 4th birthday. The bike has brought much joy and is most appreciated by the family. They ask that I convey their gratitude at the lovely surprise." Blevins said she and Martin, and the entire bike shop staff, were in shock by the kind letter. Noting that it was an impromptu and very sincere gesture to give Archie the bike, no one expected anything in return. "Every celebrity in that town has bought bikes from us, and they all come through there," she recalled. "None of them sent a thank you letter." Blevins told People she and Martin hopes the gift leaves a mark on the family. "His little sister Lily can enjoy it too as she grows. It'll be one that both of them like," she said.
Diamond in the sky, twinkle, twinkle, little star. Like a diamond in the sky, twinkle, twinkle, little star.
All right. So that was one of my little projects I worked on last night. Thank you very much. All right. So yes, I love that bike with the sidecar. That is pretty cool. And I'm guessing the one with the sidecar is likely an electric bike. One of those what is it, EVs or whatever? I'm guessing that one is probably electric. If not, it should be. If you've ever ridden one of those electric bikes, it doesn't do like all the work for you. I mean, it only moves if you're pumping your legs. But the thing is, for those hills and stuff like that, it is a godsend. So if you feel like you're not getting any exercise, that's not true. You are still getting getting some air into your lungs and everything like that. So if you haven't been riding a bike for a while and you're not sure that you still have it, well, try one of those electric bikes, and I promise you, it'll make you want to ride more often. Leg says, "Oh, look at," and Archie can actually play live. Yes, as opposed to some other members of the family, that pretend to play. But thank you so much, Legs. Okay, and happy Friday, by the way. Thank you for the super sticker. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker, and happy Friday to you. And thank you so much for being a member of Royal Sussex. So let's get into this monster. Piers Morgan injected information into royal articles. Prince Harry phone hacking trial here's. Well, the idea of Piers Morgan injecting himself anyplace is enough to make me want to hurl. But as I try to keep my lunch down. Um, anyway, I love the photo that they use. Have you ever seen him looking so terrified? And to think, and to think we're almost the same age is shocking to me. But yeah, he's a monster. He is a monster. So right here, Celibici says a former Daily Mirror royal editor said her former boss, Piers Morgan, would inject. Ugh, yeah. You guys fight to keep your food down, would inject information into stories without explaining where it was from. Jane Kerr was given evidence in Prince Harry's hacking case against Mirror Group newspapers. He claims the paper unlawfully obtained private information about him, which Mirror Group denies. Mr. Morgan has consistently said no illegal news gathering happened on his watch. Oh, man, as if anybody believes that. Ms. Kerr, who worked for the Daily Mirror royal team from 1996 to 2007, told the High Court that Mr. Morgan would add snippets of information into stories she had authored, that is. She said he might have been speaking to someone at the palace, but she would not know who. Ms. Kerr added that Mr. Morgan, who was editor of the paper, excuse me. Gosh, as I'm talking about him, I feel like something's coming up the back of my throat. Has that ever happened to you before? Ms. Kerr added that Mr. Morgan, who was editor of the paper from 1995 to 2004, took a really genuine interest in the coverage. In her written witness statement, Ms. Kerr said she engaged with the palace press offices and would occasionally direct or inject information into a story. How typical. Well, and of course, as you guys know, Piers Morgan, at that one point, I believe it was after he stormed out of the ITV studio, setting a land speed record for a mammal on 2 feet. When he stormed out of that studio, not sure what might happen to Alex Beresford, he claimed, he took a photo at some point in front of Kensington Palace. Now, that ornamental gate that you see there is one of the more identifiable parts of Kensington Palace, but actually nobody ever uses that gate. But yeah, so Piers Morgan wanted to send a message to everyone that the royal family is on his side. Now, was he saying that for us, or was he sending a message to the royal family? That is unclear, but he went there for a reason. And of course, he wanted to send a message that, I just noticed he's got that big scar on his forehead. Wonder how he earned that. Huh. I could only guess. So right here, it's possible that Clarence House, then Prince Charles Royal Court, was slipping information to Piers Morgan about Harry and William, information which would then be injected into the Mirror's royal coverage. In fact, I'm sure that Piers Morgan, having drinks with Mark Bolan and Charles Com's team, explained some, but not all, of the exclusive run by the Mirror at the time. That's interesting on its own, because Charles has always been an awful father, and of course, Charles and his people thought nothing of briefing against Harry and William when they were teens. But as I said, that doesn't explain every exclusive and every story. I still don't get how people in the British press gets to pretend like Levinson never happened. So I tell you, having drinks with Charles and Mark Boland, thank you for this, Celebici, but please let us not forget. Hello, is this the Daily Mail? Senior Royal here. Let us not forget there's other possible leaks and insiders within the royal family who may have, let slip the occasional remark. And then, of course, we're all reminded of the fact that, there's two things. Number one, Piers Morgan was invited to that Christmas party that the Duchess of Cornwall held. And of course, Jeremy Clarkson was there, among other people. And the other thing is, how often is it that Piers Morgan goes prancing around town with his fly down? Now, is he doing that just to try to make people think that he actually has some type of intimacy in his life? Or is he just a big, sloppy, slobbery mess of a person who, oh man. And I have to tell you, Celebici, I don't know what's more compelling, the articles that they write or the photos that they select for said articles, because they can pick some doozies, I promise you. So anytime you read one of her stories or one of their stories, there's always some true epic photos that are going right along with it, like this big slob in this lint covered cheap synthetic fiber jumper that you see on the screen right there. Piers Morgan and his necks. So okay, and then here I just, for fun, decided to pull out a few old receipts, like Piers Morgan knew of phone hacking when at the Mirror High Court hears. Barrister acting for Prince Harry and others say former editor must have known about illegal behavior. Now, that is from the Mirror trial. Well, this article is from a while ago. But as you can see, since then, and I'm guessing this may have been a month or two, there has been so much evidence that has been poured out into court since then. And then also, Piers Morgan says he was not aware of phone hacking at Daily Mirror. So he has been sticking to this. I didn't know of it. It didn't happen. That was not part of our business model, whatever you want to call it. They have been sticking to that. It didn't happen. Not me, not I, for a while. But Miss Kerr seems to believe otherwise. Like she said, he took a morbidly curious interest in everything I wrote, and then he would insert material into the articles. No wonder I got some tickle in the back of my throat. I hear that and I just want to hurl. And as you can see, there is a pile of those old mobile phones. Now, with today's phones, something like that is not likely to happen. But in the old days, the phones came with a factory setting. And if you have not changed that factory setting, and that still happens, you guys, with home surveillance. If you have home surveillance, I beg of you, please, to make sure that if you were not the one who set whatever password, please make sure that you put a new password today. Do it as soon as possible, because there are hackers all over the world that look for those vulnerabilities. They exploit those vulnerabilities. And just imagine some of the most intimate or personal moments in your home, and then you find out, or maybe you don't find out, that people all over the world are on these weird websites or wherever watching you make dinner or speaking to your children on the nanny cam. These things have happened. So, knowledge is power. That's why I'm telling you that, because you need to know that this is a thing. And even though that was a long time ago, and it doesn't happen a lot with cell phones today or mobile phones today, it still happens with some consumer electronic devices. Like I always keep tape over the camera of my computers. Always. I put a piece of tape over it. Not my phone, although you can use phones like that too if you know what to do. But the bottom line is, as someone who studied computer science told me, just try not to piss anybody off. The best way to avoid trouble is try not to make enemies. All right? All right. There you go. So, and of course, yesterday, let me see. I won't do the whole thing, but for just in case you guys have not seen it, let me see if I can find that one. Let me see. If not, we will keep it rolling. Was it that one? Nope. 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 Huh. Oh man, did I ever post that one? I think I have. That one with Robert Jobson. Oh well, I'm not going to bother with that one right now. So let me try this one. Oh. No. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. Okay, give me 1 second. And I'm not going to do the whole thing, just that very tail end part there. Okay, I don't need that. Don't need that. That. I'm just going to the end. This guy. This is the one I'm looking for.
You know, Prince Harry's got 3 pieces of litigation going on against the Mail, against the Murdoch Company, and today his case against the Daily Mirror starts. The significance of Harry is twofold. A, he's got enough money that he is saying, I don't care what you offer me, I don't care how much it costs if I lose, I'm going to have a hearing. Do you know there's nearly 2,000 phone hacking cases have been silenced, where the people suing have been paid off before they could get to court. The risks of going on were just too terrifying financially. Okay, so we are moving towards an evidentiary hearing. The other point of Harry is, if, as is expected, he turns up to give evidence, the newspapers who would like to ignore this story can't do that. They're going to have to cover it. It's beautiful. But what isn't going to happen is that you're going to see structural reform of newspapers in this country so that they start telling the truth instead of dealing in falsehood and distortion. If we had succeeded, we would have that. This country would still be in the European Union if we'd achieved that. But you still have newspapers who abuse their power and, using falsehood, distortion and spite, damage this country over and over again.
So, in all likelihood, it's not going to change the practices of the newspapers. There is just too much money to be made, and these dark forces have been empowered by the government and by the royal family to continue to abuse innocent people, which is exactly what's happening. And although we do have a presence of tabloids here in the U.S., as far as I know, they have not taken over the government. They have definitely influenced the government, but they haven't completely taken it over. If that was the case, we would still have a President Trump. But at a certain point, the big multinational media companies lost the will of the people to put up with that nonsense. They just did not want a President Trump 2.0. Although it came very close, because if Donald Trump had not ruined this country with his response to the pandemic, then most likely he would have been reelected. It was his to lose. But because of that terrible response that he had, that more than ensured that he was going to lose that election. All Joe Biden had to do was stay in the basement, as they said, and out goes Trump. But yeah, the media, Harry's legacy is definitely going to be this. Oh, did you watch that, Dorothy Ross? It is going to be these cases against these newspapers. That is going to be one of the greater parts of his legacy. It may not be so obvious to people who are not squatties, but that is going to be one of the biggest parts of his legacy, is the fact that he took these people on. And change is not impossible. I'm thinking that for everything that is at stake, I mean, these people make so much money from what they're doing, and not just the money, the power that they have. I don't know that they will give that up easily, but we can make laws. We can make laws that could possibly change the way they do things, but it won't stop them, I suppose. So Dorothy Ross is barren. I watched your Jeremy Vine message earlier. Miss Black sure put him in his place. Yeah, she did. Yeah, he was trying to gaslight her. He was trying to gaslight her, and it was such a nasty thing for him to do. I mean, it's so inhumane that he's speaking to a mother who lost her daughter because of this kind of stuff, and you're trying to, feed her salt and telling her it's sugar. It's just, no. It may be a white grainy substance, but salt and sugar are very different. So that just wasn't going to fly with her. And especially for someone who's paid the price, she can never speak to her daughter again. She will never know. I don't think Carolyn had any kids. She'll never have any grandkids from that daughter. I mean, a whole world of possibilities ended. And for 5 minutes, the media was like, oh, well, yeah, we really have to look inward. Well, that's the same thing they did with Princess Diana. And that's why I said, I don't suppose that these court cases are going to stop this. But one way that you can send a message is to take money out of their pockets. Nobody has an endless amount of money. And if you can turn some rich people into poor people, then at least you can take away some of the incentive. And that, I would never say it's not worth fighting for something you believe in. So thank God for Harry. Piers Morgan vows his media return will be very unpleasant surprise for Meghan Markle. Remember that? Even back in May of 2022, when it was so obvious that this day was coming where Piers Morgan was going to be named and shamed in a court of law, he was still trying to overshout or shout down anyone who dared mention the phone hacking or any other type of illegal activity with the news gathering. And that's his ploy. It's just as I said, just like Donald Trump, you have to try to define your enemies. You have to create a scenario where anything that pushes against you, the butthole, in this case, Piers Morgan, you, the evildoer, the antagonist, any way that somebody tries to rally against them, they need to shout you down and to create doubt about your character. So that way, when you point out things about how terrible he's been, nobody will believe you. And that is what Trump told Leslie Stahl of 60 Minutes, the real 60 Minutes, US 60 Minutes. Trump told Leslie Stahl, Leslie said, why do you say these things about the press? Why do you lie about us? Why do you make all these wild accusations about the media? He said, because that way, when you write a negative story about me, nobody will believe you. And it worked. It worked. That's the bad thing about it, is it was very effective. And that is how he got to the White House, is that he turned people against the press. And if they wrote anything negative about him, then there were a select, like core 35, 39% of Americans who believed Trump and not the press. All he had to do was to keep reinforcing that message. And then you might say to yourself, well, why did they keep reporting? Why did they keep reporting? Because he was making money for them. Billions of dollars went into the coffers of the media giants here in the US. Billions of dollars. That's the one thing that Trump didn't lie about. If there was one thing where he told the truth, and that is, I make money for them. People have made a lot of money because of me. And they have, whether it was The View, whether it was CNN, 60 Minutes, whomever. They all made money. And that was the incentive to keep talking about Trump, to broadcast his rallies complete throughout the day. Wherever he was, they would show them over and over again because he made money. Oh, did you hear what Trump said? I can't believe he said that. Cha-ching. Piers Morgan accused of bullying in open letter signed by almost 1,200 UK television workers. Backlash after GMB presenter targeted former employee on Twitter. And of course, over here, Piers Morgan claims royal family members thanked him, that was at Kensington Palace Gate, for standing up for the Duke, standing up to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Former GMB host says he had some messages communicated to me on behalf of several members of the royal family. I believe it. I believe it. And I'm sure it wasn't anything formal. It wasn't anything that he could show. But whatever channels he used to communicate with them before, he was probably, always in communication with them. And that's Harry's family, that everybody says Harry is such a fool to leave back in Narnia. They were the ones actively briefing against him. And then, of course, Alex Beresford, there's been some conversations on Twitter recently about how Alex Beresford has been targeted by racists because he stood up against the bully, because he stood up against that mass manipulator. So when you say insert himself or interject or whatever term you use for the way he edited the newspapers, that is how he lives his life, is that hoghead Piers Morgan is perpetually a victim of liberal society. He's the white man who can't get a break, which, of course, that explains why Donald Trump was so popular, because he was that white man who couldn't get a break in this world of increasingly darker people of color who seems to get every advantage from the government, even though statistically there's more white people that use benefits here in the US and always has been. And that's from the food assistant recipient all the way up to businesses that routinely get tax breaks that you and I would not be welcome to have, that routinely get financial incentives from the US government to do X, Y, Z. There's always that type of financial aid available to white collar workers, to business owners and such, the people who create jobs for China, not the US, but they'll take jobs over to China, but they get these breaks from the US government. So that's why I tell you guys, don't ever feel bad about accepting money from the government. Whatever you get will pale in comparison to what some very wealthy individuals have received. I don't care if that means starting a war in Iraq. Somehow they are getting your tax dollars. So if you get a little piece of that pie, eat it. Prince Harry gave blunt two-word response to reject meeting with William, claims book. Now, somehow I missed this, but one of the squatties said that they were reminded, and if you're the squatty who posted the column over on the upper right side, of course, I always have to go and try to verify to make sure that it's not just something a deranger pushed out there, but it is room for reflection right now. Prince William was keen to meet with Prince Harry to talk about his and Meghan Markle's issues after their 2019 tour of South Africa. But Harry rejected the meeting in a blunt way, claims a new book. Well, I think that book was by Valentine Lowe. So Prince Harry rejected a meeting with Prince William in a bid to heal their rift with a blunt two-word response, a new book has claimed. There has been much made about the rift between the two brothers, with their frosty relationship reportedly sparked by William's concerns over Harry's fast developing relationship with Meghan Markle ahead of their wedding in 2018. Harry first hinted at the feud in 2019 during an interview he gave with his and Meghan's tour of South Africa, just months before they sensationally quit as working royals. He famously told ITV Tom Bradby back that he and Meghan were struggling with some of the pressure of life as working royals, with a bombshell moment revealing that their sibling bond was experiencing good days and bad days. And before that, of course, there was always this idea that Harry and his brother were so close. And Harry, much to his credit, never let people assume otherwise. Even though he was the one getting the bad end of the stick, he never allowed outsiders to assume otherwise. In other words, he seemed to just go along with the palace's talking points, with the palace's narrative about their closeness, and he said nothing about it. But they were struggling for a long time, and things really heated up once the Duchess of Sussex came into the scene. So according to a new book, after interview was broadcast, William, the new Prince of Wales, tried to reach out to his younger brother. According to the new release Courtiers, The Hidden Power Behind the Crown, Harry was initially said to be open to the offer, but turned him down after growing concerned that the news of their rendezvous would be leaked by royal staff. Would be leaked by royal staff. And of course, isn't that the reason why the Sussexes had to leave in the first place? Was because of leaks from the royal staff. And Harry, I recall, if the news was correct, that Harry had expressed concerns about that with William, and William did nothing about it. Most likely because he was in on it. In an extract from the book published in the Daily Mail, author Valentine Lowe writes, the day after the documentary aired, Prince William's WhatsApped his brother to ask if he could come to see him. Initially, Harry was in favor. Then he spoke to his brother again and asked him whom would he tell. William explained that he'd have to clear his schedule, which would mean telling his private secretary at that point. Harry told him, don't come. Don't come. He was so concerned that William's team would leak the visit to the press that he would rather not see his brother than risk it getting into the papers. And the reason why that is so relevant right now is because this is the result of being tortured and tormented by the British tabloid media for years. Harry was a child when this kind of thing started. And yes, it took away his ability not only to trust a stranger, but to trust his own brother. That's the really, really tragic part about this, is that it has cost him so much, and that he has been unable to trust in some pretty, typical situations. Well, how could he? How could he? Even a conversation with his brother might turn into a newspaper article. And they pretend, or they assert, that they're afraid that Harry is going to be the one to spill the beans, where they have been leaking and briefing against him since he was a kid. Again, you have some very powerful white men that are playing the victim. They are playing the victim. They are at the top of the food chain. They are at the top of the social ladder, and yet older white men are always the victim. Trump's the victim. Everybody's the victim. And so they turn that victimhood into power by, of course, asserting that you are getting everything. You're getting the ultimate free ride, when they're the ones whose very presence guarantees the best of everything. Well, in the red box at the top, that is what the squatty wrote. Of course, I didn't want to identify their account on Twitter, but it says, all this hacking chatter reminded me of something. How did Valentine Lowe gather the exact contents of private 2019 WhatsApp messages between Prince Harry and Prince William? That's curious. There you go. There you go. Which really reinforces the idea that it was probably a bad thing to meet up with him, because otherwise you would subject yourself to more of these leaks. Just think how many times the Sussexes could have actually done some great things while they were still active working royals within that institution, that were undermined or would have been undermined because of the leaks, because people were constantly briefing against them. Everything William does, they build it up like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And any plans that the Sussexes have is shouted down and diminished in every way possible before, during, and after. So much so that they sent that very strange looking reporter to go to the Ms. Magazine event in New York so that she, whatever Meghan said, she goes back and writes an article and called it word salad. She had already wrote the article. I'm sure of that. It was a matter of hitting send and done. Just one and done. You just push send and that's it. She had already wrote the article. Joan Garcia says, Barron, right. Long ago on jury duty, a social worker showed me a social service memo telling staff to grant white immigrants money, not U.S. blacks. Yeah. Right now, if you're a Ukrainian that have been displaced by this war, there's practically no place in the Western civilization that you're not welcome. There's practically no place you're not welcome. Remember, they had the mass immigration in Brazil. They had mass immigration of Europeans. They wanted to get as many as possible because the largest community of African descent people anywhere in the world outside of Africa, even though everybody thinks it's the United States, is actually Brazil. Brazil has the largest amount of African blood outside of Africa. And so because of that, they immigrated as many white people as they could. I probably won't live to see the day that they have a president, admittedly of African descent in Brazil and quite a few other places. Everything still seems to be centralized, through the Europeans or the mostly Europeans there. Not a surprise. And the only way to keep that is to keep playing victim. Thank you so much for that, Joan Garcia. Yeah, and all along, isn't it funny? All along, they love to say that the people of color are the ones yelling victim. When they do it, is just a fact. But if something happens to me, then I'm just complaining too much. I'm trying to, So correction and clarification. Michael Booley. You guys remember this story about the flight trainer who did an article about Harry's book, and he begged them, he said, please make sure you don't misquote me because it may have a detrimental effect on my mental health. And what happened? They misquoted him anyway. And so he went on his social media to try to explain his side of things without the filter of the tabloid media. And so they would risk that man's life. They risked his life and his well-being to try to lash out at Prince Harry, to try to destroy the popularity of his book. And they did that deliberately. And he told them going into it, yeah, I will talk, but please do not misquote me. You have to understand that this would be a very bad impact on mental health. And they did not care. They were like, oh yeah, sure. So, note to self, don't talk to them, and then this won't happen. But once you talk to them, you have given them a license to misquote you. And that's exactly what they did. And let me see. I'm looking here. That was in the Mirror. The Mirror had printed, I am Michael Booley, Harry's former sergeant major flying instructor, quoted in this article. Out of the blue, I was contacted by the press to be made aware that they were writing articles. Oh, if I remember, they did a very bad translation of the book from Spanish because they couldn't wait for the English edition. They would have lied anyway. I was named in Harry's book, Spare. I was offered an opportunity to comment on it. I was completely unaware of this, and as I had not seen it, I was then provided with an inaccurate version of the book translated. Oh, boy, I tell you, my memory cells are working good today. In response, I expressed my concern. Oh, I'm being so peddled today. Look at me pulling out these receipts. Now, if I could just learn to prosecute. Let me see. Detrimental. Oh, yeah. So he said concerns about any possible detrimental narratives from the onset. I later saw the English version and highlighted the differences to the press. I was then assured that if I offered any comments, they would be reported on accurately. Stupidly and against my better judgment, I proceeded on trust. I made it absolutely clear some inaccuracies. I'm sorry. Where is that at? Oh, I made it absolutely clear that Harry was an exceptional student and I had nothing but the utmost respect for him. I highlighted some of the inaccuracies in the book and particular references to the flying sorties, but felt that they were probably not Harry's words and highlighted some to be dramatized due to the fact the book was ghostwritten. I did not know that the ghostwriter was that the ghostwriter was, and certainly did not blame. Oh, I didn't know who the ghostwriter was, and certainly did not blame him. Not once did I say anything derogatory about Prince Harry, and I certainly never said it was complete fantasy. Now, that was the words that they used when they misquoted him. They said that Harry's assertions about his flight training was pure fantasy. And that wasn't what he said, but that is how he was quoted. So let me go down here. It says, I made it clear that I myself am suffering from complete PTSD and I am under treatment for it, and any misquote or twist could potentially impact my health and well-being. I feel let down and betrayed by them. I also feel foolish for having listened to their assurances of trust and honesty. I should have known better. I certainly did not ask for or receive any payment, as some above comments suggest, and I am very despondent about how this article has been portrayed. So yeah, that is, let me see, that's June 9th, and this is from January the 22nd. So from January all the way up until now, it took that long for them to say an article published on the 22nd of January, followed up on reporting from another publication, which quoted that Michael Booley stated that the Duke of Sussex recollections of military flight training is a complete fantasy. We are happy to clarify that Mr. Booley never said these words to describe his recollection of training with the Duke of Sussex. We have removed the article from the website and are happy to set the record straight. Monsters. These people are monsters. So, of course, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to add this to my receipts. I'm going to add this to my receipts. You have to do that because when something like this comes up, in an instant, you can go back and reference the lies. So, yeah. So I still have, let me see, Prince Harry's Army instructor says story in spare book is complete fantasy. Well, even though they removed it, guess what? I still have it here. And I'm sure most of the squaddies at the time did likewise that had commented on this. So, what a terrible, terrible thing to do. After even telling them that, listen, I'm in a particular situation, I have PTSD, I'm in treatment, please don't misquote me. Oh, yeah, we won't. And then they do exactly that because it was more important to try to destroy Harry any way possible than to just tell the truth as he knew it or as he spoke it. No, just quote him accurately. Yeah, there was some things in the book, but I think that was probably because of a ghostwriter. Plus, they gave him the version in Spanish translated for him to look at. So who knows? Maybe he felt differently about it once he saw it in English. Although I'm pretty sure if I was him, I couldn't muster the strength to actually touch any book, not to mention that one, any book. So lest I avoid this again. Leg says the bad Spanish translation might be a false flag. Give them plausible deniability. People forget there were select manuscripts in the U.S. Good point. Good point. Very, very good point. Is that plausible deniability and bad Spanish may go hand in hand for the purposes of this. So, yeah, that is a very good point. It leaves them room, it gives them an out. And sometimes, no matter how terrible something may seem, some people don't really deserve the out. But yeah, thank you so much for that, Legs. That is a very good point. So, I was going to fill this page up and then I didn't. But that lie, as you can see, it made it onto the Yahoo News, the Sun, the Mirror, and a few other places that I didn't mention. But that is how far the lie made it. As they say, the lie can travel around the world faster than the truth can get his pants on. Well, there you go. It did exactly what they needed it to do. It was just another piece of the puzzle that they needed to put together to try to disparage Spare, which still is the fastest selling nonfiction book in so many places of all times, I think. Is that right? But either way, the book has done extremely well in spite of everything that they tried to do. It only sold more books. Faith Miller, 12 months membership. That is outstanding. Thank you so much. Congratulations. There are no prizes for that, but there are those stickers that you can use. Like I see you're using one of the Harry stickers. So thank you so much for that. All right. So this is that book that I mentioned yesterday, the one that the Sussexes donated the money. And I did not mention it, but also the book is not a for-profit thing. A very small portion of the sales of this book actually goes to the author. It is more a mission to help kids. What do you call it? I'm looking for yesterday's article. Let me see here. Oh, that's kind of too small for me to see. Wait. Where is it? Is this it? Nope, that's not it. Oh, yeah, I can find it like this. But yeah, so they want to enlighten kids and to show them the possibilities that they could actually be their own boss one day. No, I don't see it. I thought that was yesterday, but maybe it wasn't. Anyway, so that is the actual book. I didn't show you a cover of the book, but I found it, so I'm sharing it with you right now. But the Sussexes donated £10,000. And also, to clarify something from yesterday, so the idea of a state school, that is the public school, whereas the I'm sorry, the state school is, oh gosh, here we go. I thought I had that. Now I don't. So public school are the private schools that was so exclusive that only rich people would go to them. And when they became more popular, they began to refer to them as public schools as they opened up to more people who could pay the tuition. Whereas a state school is the typical, you know, school that I think you don't have to pay to go to. Is that right? Okay, I still flubbed that one. But anyway, there you go. And so, oh, I did show the book cover yesterday. Yeah. But yeah, that's the state school. The state school would be like any community tax driven school, whereas the public schools, those are the ones that you pay a tuition, a private school. Faith Miller, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching. Royal Sussex, happy Friday to you. Yeah, so there you go, 10,000 pounds. Okay, let me, oh, I don't need that. That's from yesterday. And there. So, Archie's book, Archie's bike. Lydia Abacus, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Friday to you. So right there, you can see the bike. Oh, no, you can't. Hold on, let me do that. There it is. So again, you can see the bike. It's not the one with the sidecar, although I love that bike with the sidecar. That is so cool. You only ever see that with a motorcycle, not with a bicycle. But I do believe it's an electric bike. I'm thinking that that gray thing in the center is not a petrol or gasoline motor. It is likely an electric motor. So that means this thing probably got some really good power to it. I would love to have something like that. That is so cool. Joy Amore, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you so much for that, and happy Friday to you. So, of course, apropos of the bike, let me show you the other video I made yesterday on the unlikely chance that you did not see it. Oh, by the way, you guys, it took me about 2 years, but I have finally figured out how to find some of the videos that I'm looking for. I can't explain it to you, but I finally figured out how to find them better than I was doing before. Wait a minute, didn't I show this already? Didn't I show this already? And you guys were going to let me go ahead and do this. I just showed this, didn't I? Never mind. Never mind. I won't put you through it a second time. Oh, what was I thinking? Or did I show it? No, yes, I did. Because, yeah, I did. Never mind. Duh, what am I doing? Did somebody roofie me or what? Oh, man. Never mind. So you know the story already. I mean, I did show it, didn't I? You know, I can't remember. I did show it. I know I showed it, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then Kaboom. Did you guys see the thank you letter from Kaboom? I think this is, yeah, it's from yesterday. Thank you to the 2,000 plus donors who supported the Sussex Squad fundraiser. This record-breaking campaign brought over 132,000 in donations. We are extremely grateful for this unprecedented support. Hashtag, I'm sorry, at the Sussex events. So, again, you guys, that money is going to go a long way for the health and well-being of kids who will have a safe place to play, a place to catch colds from other kids. I mean, how else can those little petri dishes and gym shoes. How else will those, or sneakers, those little petri dishes and sneakers, how else will they come home and infect all of the people in the household with some bug or something? Unless they have a playground where they can go around and wipe snot off their nose and then grab the handlebar of the monkey bars or whatever. So yeah, it's a good thing we have that. You can see how much I love children with their little sticky hands that smell like Kool-Aid. Why do all kids' hands smell like Kool-Aid? Why are they sticky all the time? And why is it when they're supposed to wash their hands, all you see them doing is squeezing soap, whether it's liquid soap or bar soap, they just squeeze their hands open and close, and that's supposed to clean them. They don't, get that friction going. So, yeah. So anyway, do you see why nobody ever asked me to babysit? This is why. Okay. Now take a look at Sophie Wessex. They just the people in the Sussex Squad Detective Agency, pulled out a few receipts to remind us that it's not only the Middletons that have gone bust. Well, if you look back, we remember, of course, that when Sophie Wessex showed up at the family, she only was in debt for £1.7 million, and she paid back just $5,000. Boy, I tell you, that's better than filing for bankruptcy. You just marry into the British royal family. And so to try to prove to her creditors that she's broke, look at how she's dressing. Yeah, she's dressing like she's going to make an old Western or something. But yeah, she was pretty broke when she married into the family. Wait, there it is. Exactly, Baron. Little outbreak spreaders. Right? Right. That's what they should name like the school. They should name them after things like that, like Outbreak or what's another one of those movies? The Andromeda Strain. Remember that movie? That had nothing to do with that was from outer space, but still. Yeah, she's looking a mite dumpy, isn't she? I mean, she's got on boots with a that. Where does she find these patterns? I'm convinced that she must suffer from color blindness because no person with regular vision would buy some of the stuff that she wears. When I look at that pattern, one word comes to mind: jarring. It is jarring to look at. But yeah, you could either drink a cup of coffee or you can gaze into that pattern. Either way, it is likely to overly stimulate you and wake you up. As a matter of fact, next time Kate's uncle needs to go out, to have a good time, why don't we just send him that skirt? That'll stimulate him. Next time he's in need of party favors. Okay, and then of course Edward, Prince Edward's Ardent Productions, left with assets of just £40, 40 pounds. 40 pounds? That's all you had left was 40 pounds? Well, that's better than being 1.7 million pounds in debt. And Fergie's Manhattan firm goes bust with $1 million debts. I don't remember her having anything. I know she's always broke, and I know she owed money, but I didn't know that she had started some type of business. Now, some of you guys may find this a bit heartbreaking and a bit sad. And full disclosure, I did not vet this story because I do want it to be true, and I'm not going to try to verify it otherwise. So Kate and William call an end to lengthy royal tours as family comes first for couple. as family comes first, or because people hate you? Is that why you ended your lengthy royal tours? An insider claims that the Waleses will not be leaving the children to be looked after by nannies and will respect school terms in order spend more time with their three youngsters. Either that or people hate you. People have no use for you. People don't care about you. Maybe that's why you're not doing those lengthy tours, right? Because the last time you went on a big, lengthy tour, just like they did back in the 50s, we all know what happened, don't we? And not only did they lose half the Commonwealth, but they also came back in debt.
Prince, Trenchtown wants $245 billion. That's what Trenchtown wants. $345 billion. Yes, thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what Trenchtown wants. Yes. What do you mean?
And don't even get me started with Earth Flop, which was just that, a flop. So, in order not to look like a colonizer, to avoid those odd interactions with people of color, it's probably best you stay home. Nobody wants it anymore. Where can they go in the year 2023? Let me tell you guys something. Do you realize that the last successful royal tour happened when Harry and Meghan went on the Oceania tour? That was the last of the old-fashioned, lengthy royal tours that were successful. That was the last one. And maybe that's where all the hostility comes from, is because the last time it was a success, it was because of Harry and Meghan. The Cambridges have not had a successful tour. The only tours where they seem to flourish is when they didn't have to talk and when they had very little to do. So the Cambridges aren't going to make that big incursion into the US. They're not going to Canada. They're not going anywhere doing what they used to do. If they want to do things right, use Harry and Meghan's trip to South Africa as an example. But all of that going places and you're going scuba diving, and you're going to play polo and all that kind of stuff. Nobody wants that. You are the wrong two people to carry on like that. Nobody's interested. Nobody cares. Nobody likes you. And if I'm wrong, I think they would probably get some good traction in Australia. But in spite of that, there are more people in Australia who wants to rid themselves of the royals than wants to keep them. I mean, look at this. Do you think people want to see Popeye running around, smiling and posing and doing all that jazz hand and hand jiving? Do you think anybody wants to spend their tax dollars to see that? The last successful big royal tour was Harry and Meghan. That's it. So it's over with. So better to use your kids as an excuse. Oh, Joan Lawman, thank you so much for 6 months membership. I just noticed that out the corner of my eye. I happen to have another screen open today so I can see that stuff. But yeah, that's it. They won't have another one of those. That's done with. So use the kids as an excuse if you like. But either way, nobody cares about you. You're not wanted here in the U.S. Oh, now at this point, you guys, I'm just like, please come over here. Please come over here. Please get over here. And you know what? If we can thank Spare, the docuseries, and anything else for chipping away at this veneer of invincibility, I'm here for it. Because these are two of the lousiest people that have ever drawn a breath, two of the laziest people that have ever drawn a breath, unworthy, cruel, mean-spirited. There's not an ounce of good in either one of them. They're just dreadful people. Can you all hear me, hate listeners, derangers? Should I say it again? Those are two of the most useless individuals, a waste of space, a platform looking for humanity. How about that one? Did you hit record? Please hit record. I got more. And anyway, like they said, that's all natural. Whatever anybody says, that's all natural. Okay. Before somebody gets their lawyers out, I'm just telling you, it's natural. Pretend like you don't see it. That's all natural. That is chiseled by angels. That's right. Little angels, little cherubs took their little chisels and hammers and chiseled out those interesting features. So just pretend like you don't see it. Nothing to look at, folks. Nothing. Okay. So speaking of nothing to look at, did you hear what happened to Donald John Trump? Well, apparently he's had some issues with his filings. He doesn't know how to file things. As a matter of fact, he doesn't know how to leave things that doesn't belong to him. To show you why he's in trouble, I mean, take a look at this. Leg says Earthflop may be in Singapore because they're a wealthy country, fewer folks to protest lack of food. To protest the lack of food. Also, Canada is a commonwealth and has fires. The UK isn't sending any aid. Oh, really? Are you serious? They're not sending anything? South Africa, EU, and US have sent aid. Oh, yes, the South Africans. You know, I meant to share that with you guys. I really did mean to share that with you guys. I saw them, and they are all pumped up and ready to help, which is a beautiful thing. But I did not realize that. Legs, thank you so much for the super sticker, a super chat. I did not hear anything about that. Shut the front door. No aid? That is insane. Yes, the U.S. sent 600 firefighters. Joe Biden mentioned that yesterday, right there in front of Rishi Sunak. You know what? I didn't even know about that. I would have probably tried to gauge the look on Rishi Sunak's face. So they had a press conference yesterday, and Joe Biden mentioned the 600 U.S. firefighters. And at the time, I did not know that there was no help from the UK. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they were thinking. That is irresponsible. And if they had any sense, they would, do their darndest to try to send some aid over there. Because anyway, I don't want to help them out too much, but that's dumb. Better send some help. Oh, man, I had no idea. Well, anyway, Donald Trump, this is Mar-a-Lago. Now, the interesting thing about Mar-a-Lago, if you never heard this before, was it Emily Post of the Washington Post, the newspaper heiress? Is that the one? Or was it someone else? I can't remember which one. But there was some woman who inherited an insane amount of money, and she built this beautiful Mediterranean-style home in Florida. Is it Palm Springs or whatever it is? She built this beautiful home. And when she died, she left that home. She bequeathed it to the United States government because she thought it would be nice for the president of the United States to have a Southern White House. Lisa, thank you so much for Lisa D. Thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. So Mar-a-Lago was meant to be a Southern White House, but the United States government, I think it was maybe Jimmy Carter, or was it Richard Nixon, didn't want the upkeep, did not use it or whatever, and after it was in use and it just didn't seem practical, they decided to get rid of it. So when presidents need to escape, they either go to their hometown or they go to Camp David, which is a place of retreat closest to Washington, D.C. But they never used it, so they got rid of it. And so when it was put on the market, enters Donald Trump, who bought it for a song and a dance, and that is why he has it today. And so Donald Trump, I guess he thought to himself, well, it is meant to be. I'm going to be president, and I'll use this as a Southern White House. Now, early into his administration, he was already allowing government secrets to just, seep here, there, and everywhere, up until the point where he actually was hosting a dinner at Mar-a-Lago, something he did a lot at the taxpayers' expense, and I do mean expense. And so because of that, Mar-a-Lago was like, sorry about that. Mar-a-Lago lost a lot of state secrets because Trump left it wide open. So he was very lackadaisical about sensitive information. Nixon had a summer White House, and oh yes, Marshall, that's a good point. That's a good point. Thank you. So anyway, it didn't catch on. And they sold it, I guess. I think it was Jimmy Carter sold it then. But whatever the case is, these are government documents. These are the same boxes that we saw when they loaded up that moving truck at the White House when they got rid of this heretic. And as you can see, there's government top secret documents in a bathroom. You see that chandelier? That's a bathroom. There's on a stage in the ballroom. They're under a drain pipe in some utility closet. But take a look at that upper right photo. Some of the first people that Donald Trump met with after he entered the White House were actually the first official guests in the Oval Office were a couple of Russians. Now, nothing against Russian people, but these are spies. These are spies. These are intelligent agents. And that's the first people he invited to the White House. So when people say Russia, 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 there's a truth to it. I mean, this is incredible. Now, let me tell you the difference between Trump and a president. When Barack Obama, when he had, say, a dinner or something like that, especially if it was someplace he was going to be in residence, they would set up a secure room or a tent. So if there was something happening, that was a place where the president and whoever else is in the chain of command could retreat to discuss, national security. Donald Trump sat at a table at Mar-a-Lago looking at stuff on his phone with people standing behind him with their phones recording what was on his phone. I'm not making this up. That happened, and the taxpayers paid for it. So like I said, it is normal for the president to retreat to a secure space wherever they go. But this dum-dum actually sat in the middle of a dining area and exposed all kind of stuff to every Tom, Dick, and Harry around him. So is it any wonder that when they audited the documents and realized they wasn't there? So let me wrap this up because I don't want to bore you guys with this one. But the whole point of it is they knew that there were things that were missing. They asked him to return it. He said he didn't have it. They, said, this is what we're looking for. And then at a certain point, after 18 months of conversation back and forth, they raided his home. But then recently, they found out that he was having a discussion. They have a recorded discussion of him telling someone that he had whatever, and that is why he's in trouble. So he's done it to himself. He's done it to himself. Okay, I'm going to share the South Africans with you. I didn't get a chance to properly edit this video, so I'm just going to give it to you raw as I have it. You got to see this. This is going to bring a tear to your eye. The spirit of these firefighters as they, go to help in Canada. Give me just a second. I am sending it from, there it is. There it is. Again, I didn't have a chance to properly edit this. You know how fussy I am about doing stuff right. So give me just a second. It is loading, and it's actually back to back. So anyway, you see. But yeah, so that is why. Ooh, look at him. Look at that monster. Look at that monster. Tell me that's not a monster. That is a monster. He He has a head that looks like Fred Munster, or what is his name? Herman Munster. Oh, y'all, I think all of us got a little PTSD from this guy. I tell you, January 6th, I've said this once, I'll say it again. January 6th, I think I cried for a couple of days. There was a couple of days where I did nothing but cry. I felt like the world was coming to an end. Okay, so it cuts off right there. But I suppose this went on for quite some time. I'd have to say, I think it's a beautiful thing. That is absolutely beautiful. They're all geared up and ready to go. So God bless the South Africans for taking this long journey. The air quality has been horrendous. There's a lot of people that are having breathing difficulties. I actually saw a video of someone who lived in a high rise that there was smoke seeping under the door from the hallway, and the windows, you just couldn't see anything. This luxury high rise, and this person, well, they could not really enjoy the luxury of it. So let's see. What was that I just saw? Kim Peaches says, Baron, January 6th was a funeral for my eldest son, Cheyenne, who had served 8 years in the Army for the USA. Oh, my goodness. You mean to tell me with all of that going on? Oh, I am so sorry for that. I am just very, very sorry about that. With everything else going on, and that's happening at the same time. That must have been like horrendous. That I can only think that had to be absolutely horrible. And here I am thinking about how bad I felt, but God bless you. That had to be terrible. Andrew Bodie says January 6th was the most embarrassing day in our modern history. I will never forget those traitors to the country. Amen to that. Oh, man. Kim Peaches, thank you so much for sharing that. Let's see here. South Africa firefighters, may God be with you. Tough job. Sugar Plum, thank you so much for that. I am almost done, you guys, I think. Oh, this is the part that I didn't share with you yet. I said there was a sighting of Harry, right? Well, apparently this flight attendant was, I guess, working the first class, and he realized that there was a prince on board his flight. Now, you almost would get the idea that this was staged because of the appearance of the book Spare, but I am going to just assume that that belongs to the flight attendant. But yeah, so there you have it. This was Harry. Just so happens to he was returning to the United States. I assume this was a return flight. And this guy just posted it on his Instagram. The flight attendant is the one who posted it. So how could I get this far and almost forget about it? Well, I did forget about it, but there you go. So I guess we need something like this right now. Oh, man. I didn't mean to spend so much time with that horrible president. But yeah, there you go. That is the return flight, Lydia says. So, yes, there is our prince returning back home to Montecito, where there are no leaks in Montecito ever. It's amazing how everything you utter, everything you do is misquoted again and again over in the UK. But in Montecito, there are no leaks. So God bless Montecito. They have great businesses that give you lots of fun, free stuff. And they have the Sussexes. They have the great weather, the best flight attendants. I had to brighten up the photo a bit because it was kind of dark, but that lighting is not kind to Harry. It makes it look like he has no eyebrows. So I do apologize for that. It's not the best lighting, but we love Harry too much to care. All right. And then a little history here. Abram Petrovich Hannibal, or Gannibal in Russia, was born an African prince, but kidnapped as a young boy about 1692 in East Africa and was sent to Istanbul as a hostage. A year later, he was sent as a present to the Tsar Peter the Great, who used him as an experiment to demonstrate that his educational theories. He was a brilliant student and soon became a favorite of the Tsar, who had him baptized and given the name Petrovich, which is Peter. I think that's Peter, right? Petrovich, after himself. Oh yeah, that is Peter. And Hannibal had, after the black African general. Okay, so he was named Hannibal after he's the namesake of a black African general who was feared in Rome. He became a fine general and engineer and was appointed tutor to the crown prince. But after Peter's death, court jealousies led him being sent to Serbia on increasingly unimportant jobs. Eventually, he was arrested and imprisoned. The Tsarina, Anna Ivanova, rescued him and not only restored his position in court, but made him engineer general of Russia and awarded him the Alexander Nevsky Medal. He died a wealthy and revered man, leaving a wife and 9 children, one of whom was the grandfather of Alexander Pushkin. British aristocrats descended from Abraham Petrovich Gannibal include Natalia Grosvenor. Oh, isn't that wealthy family that owns a great deal of London, of central London? The Duchess of Westminster. Oh, there you go. The Duchess of Westminster. And her sister, Alexandra Hamilton, Duchess of Abercorn. George Mountbatten, the 4th Marquis of Milford Haven, a cousin of the Queen, Elizabeth II, and also a direct descendant as the grandson of Nadja Mountbatten, the Marchioness of Milford Haven. Isn't that something? Boy, they got a whole lot. What? What? Are you serious? I forgot all about that. That should have been the first thing I looked at when I when I woke up. I forgot all about that. Oh my goodness, I knew we were close. Let me see. What? Oh no. I got too excited. Okay. Just need 18 subscribers. So listen, there are 18 of you out there right now who are not subscribed. Please make sure you're subscribed right now so we can get to that 34,000. Especially you hate listeners that are here every day, seething and frothing at the mouth and bristling at everything that I say about your beloved royal family. Go and subscribe right now so we can get to that 34,000. Yeah, I forgot to look at that. I should have been watching this throughout the whole thing. I could have been trying to drum up a few subscribers. Let me see. So yeah, just 18 to go. Oh man, I jumped up like somebody put on a Motown record. Okay. Let me see. Just 16 to go. That's 2 new subscribers. 16. Can we get it down to 10? 10. Let's get it down to 10. Down to 10. Some of you guys watching on TV that know you've never subscribed, get on over there and subscribe. Grab your phone, grab your tablets, and get those subscriptions going so we can get Royal Sussex up to a whopping 34,000 subscribers. Can you believe that in the last 28 days, Royal Sussex has received 1,100 something subscribers? So that's not bad. Over 1,000 subscribers. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. And let me see how many views. Royal Sussex is almost 19. Oh, yeah. Today. Yeah, today. Royal Sussex is 19,037,301 views. Did you get that? 19 million views. 19 million times people have heard me say, Connie Bomber. Yeah, 19 million times people have viewed Royal Sussex. Now that is insane. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. I doubt if we're going to make it before I get off of here, but fairy tales can come true, and I'm waiting for you to just hit subscribe. Okay, we only need 14 subscribers to get to that whopping 34,000. 14 subscribers. So 14 people, 14 hate watchers that are not subscribed. Please hit that subscribe button. Oh, by the way, here's a bust rather, to whatever I said his name was, Gannibal Abram Petrovich Gannibal. Anyway, they have a bus in a park somewhere for him. Isn't that nice? And to think, I thought Black Russians were just a myth. There are Black Russians, and they were thriving over there. George Washington Carver went to Russia. Also, the United States Vice President Kamala Harris was meeting today with the Caribbean leaders. And of course, the president of the Bahamas, he said, I never get tired of saying this. Welcome to the Bahamas. Welcome to the Bahamas. Remember that commercial? Welcome to the Bahamas. Let me see. Is it Daniela Wooters? A new member. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining Royal Sussex. Happy Friday to you. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, still 14 needed. So I'm going to be watching this all night to make sure that I get a screenshot. I've saved a screenshot every time it's flipped over to the next 1,000 and the next 1,000. So I got to make sure that I'm ready to do that. So anyway, you guys, I think I am done. Yes, I am. That was the last of it. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Friday to you. Thank you, moderators, for keeping this a safe space. And thank you all for your very kind, thoughtful, and generous contributions. Also, we'll be looking for the last word of the day. Okay, this is a very important last word. I forgot to hit the like button, but I corrected that oversight. Thank you, Jessica Foreman. Very important. Thank you so much. Oh, Black Anonymous, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Just 13 more subscribers. 13. It is 33987. And if my public school math does not fail me, American public school, I think that means only 13 more to get to a whopping 34,000 subscribers. Okay, B10 Pow, hey, how are you? All right, you guys, so that's that. As always, we have to remember that behind these two amazing people that are changing the world, there were these queens, our Queen of Hearts and the Rock, the Queen of Everything. That is how the Sussex's story is possible. It's because of their incredible moms. Andrew Bodie, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. All right, let me see. Oh, still waiting for 13. All right, you guys, I'm not going to drag it out. So with that, I am going to close out with the South African Firefighters, and I will see you all tomorrow. And of course, let me see. Let me see. Oh no, it's 34,000. 34,000. Okay. All right, so hit it, guys. Coronation.